And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and I'm here with my co-host Stevie D. And Stevie D, let's just jump right into it. I'm trying to think of.
Breathe.
It's hard. It is very hard. You know, I'm looking for the right words to say here, Stevie D. You know, that's the only thing I can say. You're right. I need to breathe. I need help. And guess what? We have help is on the way.
He's flexing. Wow.
What is that? What is that? Look at that. We have a special guest here with us, Stevie D. And no time too soon. All right, you keep doing that. We're going to, we don't need to see exhibition game rings on the screen. We welcome Sean Barber. Remember, he's the glue. On our last podcast, he referenced himself to the glue to hold Official Word Sports together. We appreciate it. Sean, welcome to the show.
No doubt, guys. Glad to be on Official Sports. That's what I'm talking about, official. Always coming live and correct from Kansas City, representing those Kansas City Chiefs, 2-time defending AFC champions. That's how we do.
Is that all you get is 2-time? Because the Bills are 4-time.
Bill. Oh, we talking about the 2000s, 2020s.
Oh, okay, recent.
Not history. This ain't no history lesson. We talking about current, present day. What's going on now? We talking about the Josh Allen era.
The Jets have lost 4 straight AFC Championship games, if that counts for anything. When they win.
We talking about the Zach Wilson era. We talking about the Patrick Mahomes era. We are in the era of greatness. All 3 franchises have franchise quarterbacks. It's got to be a great time for some football here in the kingdom.
Well, we don't have a franchise coach, that's for sure.
Oh, my goodness. You started right out the gate, taking shots at my man McDermott.
Yeah. Hey, Terry, welcome to the show. Terry, if you notice, we have a special guest, Sean Barber, former NFLer, played with the Chiefs, should have played with the Bills, but
played with the Jets. Former scout. Weren't you with the Jets in the scouting department, Mr. Barber?
I did have a scouting stint with McCagnon and his staff.
I don't know if I'd say that based on the history of the Jets.
I had a stint there with Todd Bowles. I would gladly serve under Todd Bowles anytime. A mountain of a man. Obviously, I just think that they don't give coaches enough time to get stuff done. But now we got Joey D in the house. Joe Douglas, former Richmond Spider. He was on the offensive line when I was there at Richmond. So a Richmond alumni is in the building. He's been making some moves. He's a crude businessman when it comes to being a GM in the league. And so, hey, man, he's going to flip and flop and shake and bake. He's going to do some things you like. He's going to get rid of some players you think you love. But he's going to change that mindset mentality of those Jets, Jets.
I think you hit on the word. A lot of flopping going on. maybe not so much flipping, but a lot of flopping. You know what? Because I got a lot to say. And look who joined us. Again, afraid to come on, but there he is trying to talk some junk already, Stevie D. Since he's there, Terry, I know you're there. We'll get into the debacle on Monday, but Sunday came first. Stevie D. Jay, you should be on. Stevie D, it was your Jets versus Fly, Eagle, Fly.
Yeah, it's interesting. The Jets actually played 2 opponents on that game. It was the Eagles and the officials versus the New York Jets on Sunday. Because I'll tell you, I don't really complain about the officials too much because it evens out. But man alive, that was one game that was very tough to swallow. There's some late flags, some phantom pass interference calls, false starts that weren't called. It was very bizarre. The overturn on the fourth down stop, I don't know what they saw. Even the special official that came on, that goes on for CBS, says, I don't know how they can overturn this, but yet they overturned it. It was bizarre. It was very bizarre.
Look at Eagle fan. Let me jump in real quick, Stevie D, and Jay and Sean as well. As having no skin in the game, right? I watched it. It's your boys. It's Jay. I really, to me that was high drama. Who could I talk some smack to? But I'm gonna be honest with you. You're spot on when you talk about the officiating in that game. I think I texted you throughout. There were multiple calls in that game, and you're just scratching your head. How do you see that? How do you call that? And at one point, I thought that Salah, the head coach, could have, should have, and kind of did lose it there on the sideline. I thought he was a little bit too calm because I think I was telling you, I would have been throwing headsets, right? Who is it, Motorola that makes the headsets? They would have. Who is it now? Bose. The Bose rep would have been saying, "Here's another headset," and I would have thrown that one before I even put it on because the calls were just absolutely ridiculous, and it cost you. And Sean, let me get your take on this because Stevie D and I were going back and forth on this, right?
Yeah.
When you have calls that are just as egregious as they were in the game, it's sometimes it's a hurdle that you can't get over. Right? Because it takes away, in my mindset, not only takes away the momentum, it takes away kind of the mindset to how to play the next play, right? Because you don't want to get called for that 15-yard penalty, or you don't want to get called for that interference. And it changes the whole mindset. What's your thought on that?
Well, definitely. You got to be able to adjust the way you play. And I think that's why you consider yourself some of the best athletes in the world. It's not always about your skill sets, what you think come the first snap, is how you can adjust those skill sets to how that game is being called. And so the only thing you ask is that a referee, was a personal foul, a pass interference in the first quarter, no matter which team, is the same thing in the fourth quarter. If you call holding offensive line, on the edge on a certain run in the first quarter, call the same. Just let me know how you call in the game in that first half so we can have a clean second half of the game so the outcome is not determined by what you would call a subjective call.
Definitely agree with that. Here's the other thing that I found odd is that, no disrespect to your Jets, right? No disrespect to the Eagles, but they don't carry the same cachet that you would say of the New England Patriots or now TB12.
They get everything. The Belichick whines like a little baby, and all the officials are afraid to throw the flag against the Patriots because they're afraid of getting a tongue lashing on the sideline.
Absolutely. So I would expect more of a evenly called game, right? That's what I would expect. I didn't even see the makeup call. Right? There's always a makeup call, right? When you huddle up, you're just like, oh man, that missed that one.
We got that the week before. There was a really bad call, and they went over to Salah, and then literally like 3 plays later, the Jets got a call back. It's like, how is that for you can't call that as the makeup. Like, what are you doing? Like, if you're gonna do a makeup call, you got to make it believable that it was an actual foul. And it was against the Texans. I'm like, man, if I'm a Texan fan, I'm saying, come on, that's not even close to being a penalty. Okay, now we're even. But again, I during the course of a game, 9 out of 10 games, it's even, right? It evens out at some point of a game, unless you're a Saints fan, and it really never evens out, because it cost them to go to the Super Bowl. But I was waiting for that call
exhibition game. Exhibition game, please.
It's exhibition game, but so it is what it is. Now, look at the end of the day, you had those penalties on the defense. It hurt. There's no question about it. In the end, at the end, the Jets couldn't do anything offensively because in the third quarter, the Eagles, that first drive out of halftime, held it for almost 9 minutes. Then the Jets turn around, 3 plays and out, give it back to the Eagles, and then again, some of those penalties that kept the drive going, they held it to the rest of the quarter. So all of a sudden, you're in the fourth quarter. The Jets had 3 plays in the third quarter.
Yeah,
and that was it. I mean, hey, credit to the Eagles. They made the plays. They won the game. And I'm not taking anything away from the Eagles. I'm just saying some of those calls were just like, if you're a football fan, you're just saying like, how do you call that? It was just a little bizarre. But again, what I saw out of the Jets, I did see progress out of Zach Wilson. That's what I wanted to see in that first half. He's been notorious not being able to get off to fast starts. He had 3 total touchdowns in the first half. He still got to learn to not zip the football 5 yards away from your receiver. You got to give them an opportunity to catch the ball. You almost take off their hands, right? Easy, Zach, easy. We all know you got a cannon. You can show off that cannon at the right time. Those short, intermediate routes across the middle, no need for 95 miles an hour. 60 miles an hour can do the job, right? Not 95. But again, I saw some things out of the running game that was good. So, in the end, I saw enough out of Zach to say, okay, now let's take that and let's build it off the next game. And that's all it is building blocks each game. And it is what it is. So on to the Saints.
Well, before we leave that, to the play calling, I thought it was a little bit better. And Sean, Steve has referenced conversations that you guys have had in the past, right? Talking about, how many pass attempts should Zach Wilson have, especially being a rookie in the league. My contention is that when Mike White came in, you saw a different offensive attack, right? Mm-hmm. And they wanted to kind of, lack of a better term, they wanted to dumb down the offense, right? They wanted to make it as easy as possible, quick reads. Well, that's the same thing that Zach should be seeing in his rookie year, right? I don't believe that a rookie quarterback, unless your name is Peyton Manning, should come in and have the full playbook, look for, plays that are 15-plus yards downfield. It needs to be contained so that he's taking maybe 3-5-step drops and the ball is out quick, right? Build that confidence, and then to your point, leverage the running game and come down on the number of passes thrown in the game.
Yeah, I definitely think at the end of the day, I always look at it 60 snaps. I'm an offense. I'm going to have 60 snaps. I want 40 runs. I want 20 passes for a first-year, second-year quarterback. After his second year, I try to even that out 50-50. And then once a guy gets past his third, fourth season, and he's kind of seen what defenses do, he's seen all the different packages, the disguises, and I feel like he can actually protect himself. That's when I started looking at the more pass-heavy, play-action pass like the Rams offense with McVay and all that, what Tom Brady is doing with Tampa and stuff, what the Chiefs are doing with Mahomes. Whenever you get into that 35, 40 pass attempts, you got to be kind of know exactly what you're going to see out there from a gunslinger standpoint if you're going to drop back or put the ball in the hands of your quarterback that many times in a ball game.
Sure. And I absolutely agree with that. And it should be baby steps. But I guess the only question is, why are the offensive coordinators, why are the head coaches allowing that? And my best answer to that is justification of the pick, right? In today's time compared to seasons, maybe 10, 20 years ago, where you had time to develop a player, right? You had that 3-5 years where you wanted to see him go and then let him flourish. Now you come in the league, and Stevie D, you come in the league, we want to see you perform at the highest level on day one.
LaFleur's play calling, like week 1, week 2, he's throwing 7 out of the first 9 plays of the game. And it's like, we heard coming in when Saleh was hard, LaFleur, he's kind of the disciple of Shanahan, and it's going to be a lot of running of the football and let the play action come in. And I'm like, okay. All right, I definitely go for that. And then all of a sudden, week 1, it's like pass, run, pass. Like, this was not what I was envisioning for a rookie quarterback. It's a lot for a rookie quarterback. The process, right? And what did you have? You had a lot of mistakes. You had a lot of misfires. I mean, as strong as his arm was, he was hitting receivers, short hopping them on easy throws. It was just bizarre. I just think the speed of the game and thinking I gotta rush a throw it, and he's short hopping a receiver. It was just very bizarre. LaFleur was very confusing. And then, the blessing in disguise, right? Wilson gets hurt. It changes the game. White comes in. LaFleur goes up top, right? He goes up top and is looking from the game from the booth down. And everything started changing a little bit. Again, he's still pass happy, right? They didn't change the offense. The difference was Mike White was smart enough to go underneath for the dump off instead of forcing the ball, where Zach Wilson was trying to make that highlight. I want to show off my
But
arm.
how do you know? How do you know? How do you know not in the headset? How do you know not on the sidelines? They were like, Mike, just stay between 0 and 10. Focus on the running backs coming out the flat.
It's possible, but when you watch the game, Mike White was going through his progressions, and when nothing was there, he checked it down, right, or hit the running back. Because think about it, his first 2 games, I think he had 41 completions in the start and a half that he had. 30 of them went to your running backs, right? But when you watch the game, when I was watching the game, he went through his first, second, third reads pretty quickly. Nothing was there. Get it out, and it was successful. Then. Yeah. We played you guys in Buffalo. Well, those checkdowns, right, really didn't happen very well for Mike White. It was not a pretty game for Mike White because all of a sudden, okay, we know what Mike White's game is, and we're going to take away the short because we're good enough. We can cover the deep, and now we're going to take away the short. And that was about as ugly game as you could have against the defense.
So Sean, do you, in your opinion, what you've seen in your experience there in the league, this type of mentality, is that something that could ruin a Zach Wilson? Or
so I would say it wouldn't ruin him, but so in every quarterback room, you got to find out how quickly a guy can process information. And that comes from pre-snap read to reading the safeties, to reading the depth of the cornerbacks, knowing is there any quick threats for the blitz game. So you got to get out of it and go to a hot route. The ability to change your play at the line. So all of these things, obviously, when that clock is ticking, it forces you to speed up how you react to these things. And so what I would say with the Jets is originally when they had Zach Wilson, because he was their number 1 from training camp, they probably released 5 receivers out and told them, all right, go from X to Z to Y and then check backside. And if that ain't there, then dump it down. So that's your progression. And the safety depth will take away the X. The width of the linebackers takes away Y. So you either going to throw it to your Z or it's going backside. So you've already eliminated 2 of the reads based off of pre-snap defenses, alignment, and stuff like that. When it comes to the game, sometimes that whole transition of what you went over in practice and, going from X to Z to Y, backside, sometimes you get a little bit robotic with it. And defenses start picking up on it. Okay, so if our safeties line up deep, you don't even look deep no more. From pre-snap alignment, we can take away that receiver. So then we can overplay, right, that flat route. Like that's what Steve was saying. Once I realized the depth of my safeties take away 2 of the routes, now I tell my Mike linebacker, go ahead and buzz the Y. I got my best corner on the backside. You ain't throwing it there. So you ain't got no decision but to throw it to the flat or to run it yourself. So we've made it really simple on our coverage aspect because we know that you ain't good enough to stick with that X receiver more than 1 count, or you're not good enough to watch our disguise and then watch us go from a 2 high safety to a single high dropping a safety, and how that changes your read as a quarterback. If he doesn't have it up here to be like I think that what they call it like a computer. If you ain't got 5G up here and you working on 3G, the NFL gonna eat you up, bro. I don't care how powerful that arm is. If you ain't got but 3G and that wheel moving like that, and you trying to think about it, and you sacked. So he got to get that 5G going. That high speed network.
So what I'm hearing, Stevie D, from Sean, is that the Jets' defense is so bad that during practice, Zach is looking so good with the downfield reads and being able to hit the X, the Y, the Z, that the Jets coaching staff says, let's translate that to the field. And that's why LaFleur is throwing all those 15 to 20 to all the intermediate plus routes. And that came from Sean.
No, the defense is on the B field. The offense is on the A field, so he's just going by himself. There is no defense out there. So
not even 7. It's 7 on 0.
But what's interesting, though, our offensive line as a whole has gotten stable as the season's gone on, and especially with Zach Wilson's gotten back. In the beginning, Zach was running for his life back there. And Sean, you mentioned something earlier where when you talked about the runs in the past, and I think Vince, you asked Sean about the topic you just covered, Sean, right? Should we be worried about Zach Wilson? And I think if I would be more worried about losing Zach Wilson if he was truly still running for his life, where we talk about the term happy feet for a quarterback, because you're like Sam Darnold, because he got hit so often with the Jets, it's almost like you're not even able to read the defense because you're worried about getting hit. And so you're just not acting like a normal quarterback in the pocket. And so with Zach, I would be more worried if he was get under constant duress, where he could take a step backwards because, oh my God, I'm going to get hit, and he can't go through his normal progressions because he's afraid he's going to get hit back there. But I think George Fant, who stepped in for Mekhi Becton, really, really is an unsung hero for the Jets, because we were all excited about having Becton and Vera Tucker at left guard and saying, wow, we're going to be studs on the left. And then Becton gets hurt week one, I believe. Yeah, week one. He hasn't played since, and Fant's come in and really helped out his blind side. Tucker's gotten much better, and we had Van Rotten at right guard, who's been awful. He's been the one guy in the offensive line. You're just like, oh my God, we got to get rid of him. And then we make the trade for the Chiefs, and we get Tardif, the right guard, and now it looks like we're getting a little bit stronger at offensive line. So I'm really excited to see Zach Wilson with a more stable line here in these last 5 weeks. But again, Sean, like you said, we do have to figure out a way to cut down some of those passes. So, get more run heavy, because we do have some backs with some speed. So I am excited for the last 5 games to see how it plays out, except for playing Buffalo, because I really don't want to see that defense in the cold weather on the last week.
And you don't want that victory either. I mean, at this point.
We're not beating you the last week. Come on.
Did you hear that the Lions, with their one victory, are still mathematically not eliminated from the playoffs?
So you're saying there's a chance.
Dan Campbell is sitting in there with the Ford family like, guys, you made the right choice, because I'm ready to go after the kneecaps. I'm ready to just start eating at those kneecaps because we got a shot. It just takes one. After you get one, you get two. And after you get two, you get three. And after you get three, well, then we're drafting, 11. So, all right. We did not post the rules of of being a fan, right? But there are rules, and I've been trying to educate those that are out there. I need 48 hours. I need 48 hours. And it is 48 hours since kickoff, not 48 hours since the debacle. And that's what I'm going to call it, the debacle. Sometimes I'm at a loss of words. Sometimes I just, things just start spewing out, right? I've created a whole new language, right? Predicated upon Bernie Mac's, the 4-letter game, right? I can say mother bleep. It's so many different ways, let me tell you. Because I can't fathom the fact that you had on prime time at home,
oh God!
You had a better team.
Yeah.
You had the home crowd.
Yeah.
And you had the national spotlight. You even won the toss. A 50-50 shot. You won the toss. Right? So what took place out there is sometimes words can't really capture everything that's going on. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to change our rating. I'm going to tell you, I was pissed off.
We're going to change our rating.
We're changing it right now. I was pissed off, right? I was okay with the players because I know that the players tried, right? But you have to be put into certain situations in order to succeed, right? And when I look at what happened, let me just start let me start with the fact that everybody's making jokes about Mac Jones throwing 3 passes, right? Kudos to Bill Belichick, right? Looking at the environment. Guess what? Bill Belichick had what, 6 days, 7 days to prepare for that game. Sean McDermott had 11 because we played on Thanksgiving Day. So you knew what the weather was going to be. Go ahead, Stevie D.
To tap in, just so you know, it really should have been 2 passes because he got his butt chewed out that he threw a pass, I think, in the second quarter. So it really should have only been 2 passes. I think he checked to a pass, and Belichick wasn't having any of that.
The heck no, I wouldn't, right? You're looking at the conditions. At first, they said that it was just going to be a snowstorm blizzard, right? There was this big front. That didn't come through. We had the wind that was coming through, right? And the wind was 35 plus miles an hour. You can see it blew off one of the flags at the top of the goalpost, right? The kickers already told you. Tyler Bass has got a monster leg. Told you, look, don't look for me outside of 35, right? I'm 35 in. And even at 35 in, I'm not feeling too good about this, right? Just because, I'm dealing with the elements. Terry, not right now on that one. Sorry. Not right now. Allen did do well, but Allen was not put in the right situation. So
Allen got me no points.
So let's start with you win. You defer to the second half. I'll be there shortly. All right. You win. You defer to the second half. The fact of you watch the Patriots go out there and run the ball, right? You know that's your Achilles heel. Thankfully, Starr was back in the game, but he's on a snap count coming back off of COVID. And now you're looking at that front line. You had Oliver, who's had a great year this year. I'm going to give him a lot of kudos, right? Because a lot of people were giving up on that Oliver coming out of Houston, right? High pick, thought that I think he was the 9th pick overall in the draft in his draft class. Thought that he was going to be like this instant, like we talk about with Zach and some of the other quarterbacks, this instant game changer. But we're starting to see it now, right? And he played a great game. But outside of that defensive line, you didn't even know who they were. We knew who the linebackers, the safeties, the corners were because the run game was getting past the front 4, right? Getting into that second level. And you're seeing Poyer and Hyde and Jackson and all these other guys making tackles where I'm not hearing Rousseau. I'm not hearing Basham. I'm not hearing Phillips. I'm not hearing all the people that I should be hearing, right, that are holding the line. Not to mention A.J. Klein's out the game. But is A.J. that critical of a piece to that defense to stop the run? Well, obviously, yes. Because Matt Milano doesn't know what he's doing, right, until he comes out from some sort of tongue lashing in at halftime. Jermaine Edmonds overrunning every freaking play out there, right? In any counter. And if you watch what Belichick, if you watch what McDaniels did early on, right, they were running basically straight dives, right? They were just hitting the hole. They weren't telling them to do any type of action on the play. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, what did they do? They started to bring the counter game into it. Right? They started to do more of zone blocking, right? Looking for those gaps, looking for those holes, and then be able to take advantage of it because of the over pursuit, right? Bills did not have any confidence in Mac Jones. Either did the Patriots. So they knew that they were going to ride Harris, right? They knew they were going to ride Stevenson. And so all they did was just hammer at the Bills. And then they said, hey, let's do a counter because you know what? These guys are taking themselves out of the play, and there's gaps this big to run through. Gaps this big. Now, with all that being said, you're still in the game.
This is good.
You're still in the game. Why are you still in the game? Because of the weather conditions, right? And the weather is impacting both teams, right? The weather, that's something that's not a benefit to the Bills, nor is it a benefit to the Patriots. I think more to the Bills because Josh has a stronger arm. Matter of fact, on Josh's stronger arm, he threw one pass, and it was to Gabriel Davis. And I swear, through the television, I could hear that ball sizzling through the air, right? Yeah. And I'm surprised Gabriel Davis actually caught the ball. How hot that ball. You were talking about Zach on a 5-yard type pass. You need to throw from 90 miles an hour down to 60. Josh had to cut through that wind, and, man, I could hear that, right?
He threw 2 passes yesterday that I recalled that I said, wow, that was real tight, real on a line, real zip, no wind involved. I was like, dang, that's some good throws. And then I saw some throws that he had. I was just like,
hey, Cynthia.
Ooh, man, that was it. I don't know if it was the wind or he just took something off it because some of those throws they weren't even close to the receiver.
Well, so let's get to that. And Sean, at any point you can jump in, but I really have a true question for you coming up in just a minute. The game is tight, right? But what
Tied
one of
or
the
tight,
tight.
Okay.
TIGAC. The game is tight. One of the things that I noticed in the game is the play calling, right? Was the decision making of who was going to be active for the game and who was going to sit. So, Sean, your boy, Mr. Sean McDermott, decides that in a game that's going to have a lot of run plays, that players like Marquez Stevenson, right, or Isaiah McKenzie, guys that are fast, right, that could be a game changer, that they're not going to play. Now, I'm not talking about fast for running a 9, right? I'm talking about fast for running jet sweeps. I'm talking about fast for maybe running even a reverse, right? To be able to get that edge and be able to turn it up. But no, we're going to have these guys be non-active for this game. And I don't know the man, so I want to be careful how I say this. But we're going to start a bum like Zach Moss, right? Who only runs into the back of the offensive lineman. Every once in a while, he'll make the right cut, right? But that doesn't happen. We're going to start some guy named Devin Singletary, who they keep saying, oh, wait for this guy. Look at what he did down at Florida International or Florida Atlantic, wherever he went. Oh, he's the bowling ball, right? Now, all of a sudden, he put on more weight. He has got more durability, but yet he's faster and all this kind of stuff. These guys can't read a hole, right? What they get the call, and then they run straight into it. And then that's it. And then you get tackled for a 1-yard loss. Maybe if you happen to fall forward based on physics and the way that you fall, you may fall forward for a 1-yard gain. Great, 2nd and 9, right? But if you have players out there where you could call a jet sweep, right? Doesn't work all the time, but if it's schemed right, instead of getting a 1-yard, give me 3. Right now it's 2nd and 7. Now I can play with something, right? These are the things that I start to question from your boy, Mr. Sean McDermott, right? But I also question Brian Dable. What are you thinking as far as the game plan and the play calling? Again, I go back to your last game was on Thanksgiving. So you had 11 days in a known environment on how to prepare for this game. You had 11 to prepare for this. And you did nothing. You prepared as if you were playing in a dome. Yeah, we're trying to get a new stadium. Yes, we are, absolutely. But we don't have it right now, so we had to deal with the conditions. And if you can't adjust based on the conditions of a weather forecast that you knew 11 days ago, then there's an issue. There's absolutely an issue. Now, I said I was going to come back to this. And Sean, let's start. Before the game even starts, before the first play is run, you flip the coin in the air, right? And it comes down, you win the toss. You decide you're going to defer. Right? I want this to be clear. Sean, as a former player, for some of us who didn't play in the league, it may not, depending where you played in your life, maybe Pop Warner, maybe high school, maybe collegiate, but as a pro, right, when they flip the coin, what are the options that you have?
Well, when you win the toss, you have a choice to
wait. Hold on, Sean. I hope I didn't scare you. I mean, you kind of stuttered in the beginning of that one. Come on now.
Yeah, it's that epic rant that you had. I think it just caught us off guard a little bit. So,
when you win the toss, you have the option to defer to the second half to make a choice, or to make your choice right now.
Now, if I defer, what does that mean? What are my options?
Whether it's the first half or second half, the choices you have is to take the ball, which is to receive it,
okay,
kick off,
okay,
or to defend either end zone.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Just for education here from those that may have watched this game, So you're saying that I can kick, I can receive, or I can look at the elements and say the elements are like the third team that's out there, and everybody's been playing based on these elements, and maybe I don't want to have that wind in my face in the fourth quarter. Is that a possibility?
That's a possibility. Now, I'm going to tell you that 98% of the times there's an NFL game, teams that defer are going to accept the ball in the second half because when they go in at halftime, they put together all these answers and adjustments, and they believe that in the third quarter there's going to be some scoring, and they want to be the team that scores, gets out in front, and then they can start playing defense. You don't want to put yourself in a position where I don't think defensively you kick off the first half and you kick off the second half and rely on your team to try to stop the other team after they've just made a halftime adjustments. That's the only reason I feel like even under the most terrible conditions, even though there's some theories behind defending a certain end zone with the win against the win in the fourth quarter, I do believe that once you make those adjustments, I mean, you got to be confident about those adjustments. If you make those adjustments, you make them confident you're going to be able to go out and execute and put some points on the board. You want to be the team that plays ahead.
But Sean, you said in your words, right? 98% of the time, right?
Yes.
So that 98% of the time, more than likely, you are not playing in 35-mile-per-hour winds. You're not playing in a game where you kick a ball and all of a sudden it goes for about 10 yards and then hits a brick wall and goes left. Kind of like Stevie D's golf shot, right? The dunk hook.
Definitely like
Right?
my golf shot.
I'm just saying, right? Where it goes and then all of a sudden decides to go do right. That doesn't happen.
That's not a dog with left. That's not a dog with left. We're playing straight up. Dog with left. Hit that ball.
So, but again, 98% of the time, yeah, you may have elements, wind, snow, rain, and all of that, right? But it's not as excessive as it was out that night.
Again, I just think that the way that New England had told you in the first half, we basically gonna run the ball and we ain't planning on passing. Whether they was with the win or against the win, I felt like it didn't really matter at the end of the day. They was going to run the ball anyway, so they were trying to take the win out of the equation. And it is a lot easier to do that when your quarterback is Mac Jones. It's hard to tell me that when you have a weapon like Josh Allen that you would ever even fathom a 46-run, 3-pass type ball game. Because if you didn't win, the entire Bills Mafia would be at your door wondering what is going on.
I'm at the door right now. Believe that.
I just think that's in hindsight. In hindsight, you would think that there's a rushing attack, a more rushing attack heavy, or at least maybe a focus on a shorter passing game. The boots, utilizing the receivers in a short instead of working down the field so deep. Just trying the shorter passes, which you would believe wouldn't move as much with the wind. Every time the ball got thrown more than 15 yards, though, you knew it was going to get blown 10 yards further, 10 yards to the left or the right. So it was, and even to that, Josh Allen did drop a dime in the arms of Stephon Diggs in the end zone. And the
best pass of the season too.
And the throw to the tight end was on the money too. Obviously, there was a little bit of jostling with the defender before the ball got there, but we know the refs. Yeah, the refs don't call things on certain teams.
I want to chime in here for a second. So,
go ahead.
When we talk about deferring and then taking in the win, if you defer in the second half and you want the wind at your back in the fourth quarter. In my view, what you have done to your organization in this particular game, you've given your opponent two extra possessions. Because they got the ball to start the game, and then they got the ball to start the second half. That's 2 extra possessions that they have that you didn't have. Because if
the first one, they went 3 and out, had to punt, had a bad punt.
Okay, they went 3 and out in the first one, but in general speaking terms, when you look at total possessions in a game for an offense, they had, without any turnovers, they had 2 more possessions than your team.
But I wouldn't be worried about that. What I'm looking at is at halftime, it's 11-7. And at that, I'm shocked, right? We've seen games at halftime 3-0, 6-3, right? So 11-7, I'm actually shocked, right? But that's a 1-possession game, right? And the way that I'm looking at it, in a game where it's a 1-possession game, that the fourth quarter is going to be the money quarter, which it always is. It always is, right? And if the fourth quarter is the money quarter, then I want to make sure that I have all the chips on my side, that I have put all of whatever I need to be successful is sitting over on my side. I don't want to have to kick a field goal no matter the distance. It could be a 20-yard field goal attempt. It could be a 50-yard field goal attempt. But at some point, I may need to kick that. Why not put the benefit of having to go with the win at that time than having to go against the win?
Then they should have taken the ball to start the game and hope that the Patriots.
No, you defer it so you have that option in the second half, right? If I take the win and I don't defer, now all of a sudden I've left myself as a deficit because Bill Belichick, the coach of the year that Sean McDermott doesn't want to anoint, I guarantee you Belichick would have been going with the win in the fourth quarter. Guarantee it.
But in that type of game, you can't rely on a field goal no matter what. You can't rely on an extra point. You can't rely on any. You got to get possessions and score touchdowns.
You're absolutely right.
Rely on a liquored up. Oh, that's the wrong team. That's my bad. Wrong team. Mike Vanderjagt. Wrong team. Wrong decade.
Stevie D, you're absolutely right. You don't want to rely on the kicker. But if I know I have the better quarterback, if I know I drafted this guy 5 years ago because he had the arm to play in the elements, I want to give him all the tools and all the advantages possible. Money time, Josh, go ahead and throw with the win. They had Josh throw against the win, and he was still completing passes. Imagine if he was throwing with the win.
You had 4 opportunities in the red zone.
We did.
Right? 1 off a turnover.
We did.
It was a turnover on the kick. It hit the helmet, right?
Yep.
Next play, I think they scored a touchdown to Gabriel. Well, Ford, number 13.
Gabriel Davis. That's right.
Great pass to Gabriel Davis, right? And then you had a turnover, I think a fumble, lost. I don't know. I think he just dropped it. I don't know if it was a bad in the breadbasket or whatnot. There was a fumble there. But what I saw some plays there with Josh Allen. I told you this yesterday. Like, he rolled out and it was like, uh-oh. I mean, he was going back 15, 20 yards on some of those pass plays there in the red zone. I'm like, Josh Allen, to me, killed you guys more in the red zone because he was rolling weird.
You know who killed us in the red zone? Brian Dable and Sean McDermott. That's who killed us in the red zone. And I'll tell you why. You played basically 58 minutes of gaining no yards rushing from Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. Josh Allen had 1 escape, which, Josh, I'm tired of as you get to the line to fake pass. Nobody's buying that you're throwing the ball. They all know that you're running. If you're going to fake anything, fake that you're going to hurdle over somebody and just keep running. But I digress, right? You had I believe it was 1st and 10 from the 15. Under 2 minutes to go in the game, right? Okay. First play call that you call is Devin Singletary up the middle to the right.
Ooh, yeah, that didn't go well.
For 57 minutes of the game, Devin Singletary hasn't done jack. Why in the red zone, with the game on the line, would you just waste the down? And that's what it was. It was a wasted down. Why are you calling that? Who are you fooling? What are you doing? So now it's 2nd and 10. Let me just pause there for a second.
Yeah, please, because you're making me nervous over here, all right?
Let me just pause. And as I pause, Sean, Please explain. Patriots have it 4th and 1. They run Mac Jones on a QB sneak.
Yeah.
There is mass of humanity standing around like there always is on a quarterback keep. I saw from the side, I saw that he was tackled short.
I thought he was tackled short too. Yeah.
Is it my fandom? It could be. But I saw
even if you look at from the rear view, from the offensive side, I thought he was stuffed in that line. There was no forward progress. His knees. He almost like went straight down to the ground. It looked like on the rear camera.
But the only thing that happened is that even after the whistle was blown, all of a sudden he's like 3 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
don't know how you ended up there, right? Because if you're laying flat, you almost have to levitate and just kind of fly over. But he's a little bit further past. But in this situation, yeah, if I throw the flag, how are they going to be able to say where the knee was down? He ends up over here. The call on the field, which is key, is that it's a first down, which means you have to have indisputable evidence to say that he was tackled short prior to that whistle. Knee down, ball short of the line.
Okay.
Your boy, who a couple weeks ago decided to just hold on to the challenge flag when it was obvious. But he's like, oh, no, I can't challenge this one. But in this game, when you can't tell, and it's just the dumbest challenge, you decide you're going to throw your challenge flag. Why?
Now, we recognize that these coaches are not making these calls, whether to challenge it or not. There's somebody on the staff who is that's their job, is to risk reward management of, and they tell the coach, it's a percentage. I'm 75% sure you should challenge it. I'm 90% sure. I'm 100% sure. And there's a trust between the coach on the field and whoever's in that headset. I've seen X amount of, before they snap the next play, we should challenge it. So, I mean, you don't excuses. You don't get to it's still gonna go down. McDermott is the guy that challenged it. When it's a good challenge, he gets the credit. When it's a bad challenge, I know it's on him. But
Sean, hold on. You're wearing the Bills visor. You got the Bills Zuba hoodie on your back. You're standing on the sideline with the Bose. These are Beats. With the Bose headphones on your ear.
Yeah.
You get the call down and they say, we're about 48% sure that we could challenge and win this. Even if they said we're 50%. Even if they said that they're 60%. You have to make that call. You're the one who is standing on the sideline saying, I need this timeout. This is too risky. I know my guys upstairs said that there's a chance, but there's no definitive shot. Are you making that call?
Again, for a turnover, to get the ball right there at that possession, I don't know. I guess it's a gut feeling.
In a game that's 11 to 10.
When the game was going on and I saw it, I thought he was short. I said to myself, bad spot. Now, bad spot doesn't mean that automatically means I'm a challenger. So, like in the way that game was going, it was still a one possession game. Probably not challenge that. But if the guy I trusted in my ear, if I got my guy up there and he says, "Hey man, I think we can win this one. I think we should challenge this one." Man, challenge. I'm throwing the flag. I got to go with it. That's we got that system already worked out. We don't get to go. Sometimes I listen to you, sometimes I don't. Right? So when you give me the signal and tell me I can go ahead and throw the flag, I'm gonna have to go ahead and throw it.
Wow, better man than I. Look who we have here, Stevie D. We have a guest, and Sean Barber. You may know the gentleman over there. We can't see you, El, because there's no lighting in your sneaker kingdom. But we have Lamar Turner. Actually, Yeah, I feel like a matchmaker over here,
Can you
CBD.
hear me though?
Yeah, oh yeah, we got you, L. We got you.
I mean, Sean, I done ran across paths with Sean a few times back in the Miami Beach days with the Potsy crew, Potsy and Trouble crew, Jude Waddy and company. Yeah, I'm a Clemson guy.
Oh, Jude, yeah. Hey, man, Jude Waddy, proud of wearing Marry the Tribe. Him and Tomlin, Sharp City, and those guys.
Yeah. You know, I sat back and listened to this, Vince, and I'm a hometown Buffalo Bill like Vince.
You are not. You are not.
Set him straight, will you please?
This is the biggest bandwagon fan ever. Ever since we were little jits. He has been the biggest bandwagon fan.
Hey, you can't attack our guests like this. Come on.
He's hospitable. Listen.
I apologize.
I might be from Buffalo, but Vince will tell you I never ran with the Buffalo Bills. Only time I ran with the Buffalo Bills when we used to go out to the club.
Wait, hold on. But this show is now, we have changed the rating level. So we went from PG to PG-17, right?
No, it's all good.
Sean, I don't know if you're ready for this, but this is now going MA-17, all right? Just to let you know. Go ahead, Al.
Get my question. When you start talking about
I'm good with it. I'm good.
When you start talking about the Bills and Monday night and all, the first thing you said was the better team. Says who? Says who? The Bills are the better team. They don't got the better coach.
That's right, Sean.
You know that New England look forward to going into hostile environments. And you knew they were going to run the ball all day. If you don't make adjustments, we're going to keep running. What's the need to pass? Now, another thing you said was, oh boy, throwing 3 passes. Whether he was Mac Jones, Tom Brady, how many you think he would have thrown more than 5 passes? No need to. They just got run. Bills didn't make no adjustments. We're going to keep running and doing what's making us win.
I can't disagree with you. That's all.
Hold, Lamar, did you say us? As in, you're a Patriot fan?
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. He's down with TB12. He's down with New England. Hold on. It gets worse than that. Let the Broncos get to the exhibition game. Oh, I've been riding with those horses for years. Oh, yeah. He's all over the place.
You're tripping.
Go ahead.
He is tripping. He knows I rolled deep with the Gronkowskis. They all went to my high school.
They
all
did.
Represent Williamsville North.
They did.
Every single one of them. Steve, did you know that? They're from Buffalo, New York?
I did. I know the Gronkowskis were, Vince mentioned. I didn't know what Vince didn't share was that he went to the same high school as you.
No, we didn't. We went to rival high schools. And the Gronkowskis, and Rob better be glad, he was a little bit later and didn't play against Williamsville East back in the day. Because I'll tell you, we would have had something for him. And I know there's some Williamsville East guys, alum, that are on here and would have let you know. There would be no Gronk out there right now. We would have had something for him. That's for sure. Believe that.
Look, my senior year, we went 1-9. 1-9. But the only game we won was my 53-yard field goal
against Williamsville East. Yeah. Because if they went 1-9, we were 0-10. All right, just you got to call it what it is. There were 3 high schools in our district, right, or in our area, and we were always at the bottom. I guess recently, after I graduated, something happened. Maybe because I left the school, they started to get a little bit better, right? Maybe some of the other guys left.
Football field now.
Yeah, right. Right, we had to share a field. That's how bad it was. We had to share a field. We had to travel to go play at the field. Mm-hmm. They had home games right there. Oh, it was bad. It was bad. We had a nice practice field. Hey, that. But
yeah, man. Hey, man, good seeing y'all. I've been looking forward to getting on this.
All right, we're going to bring you back for Official Word Sports After Dark, and we'll talk. We're going to talk about the Sundowner. We're going to talk about Mints. We're going to talk about the Pier. There's a lot that we can talk about, but we'll hype it up for that.
Super Bowls, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about your story. You're legendary, Lamar. Legendary. Real quick. I have to say, when I got a phone call one night, and I think I was in Kansas City at that time for that Super Bowl, and I says, "Are you at the bar?" I'm like, "Are you at the bar watching the game?" "No, I'm at the Super Bowl." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to send you photos." I'm like, "Shut up! You're not at Super Bowl. I'm at the Super Bowl. I'm at the Super Bowl with Lamar. I'm at the game."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 5 minutes later, my phone rings in with all these photos of him in the Super Bowl.
Right there in Tampa.
Let me tell you. All right, Al, you gotta have to stay on for this. Sean, you'll appreciate this. All right. So, a good friend of mine, Dwayne Walker, who we've had on the show plenty of times. Dwayne had a sports talk show in Buffalo, and Dwayne got the call. Right, got the call to go to CNN. So he was moving down to Atlanta for the CNN gig, and as he moved, Dwayne reached out to me and said, "Would you like a sports talk show?" I'm like, huh? Right. I maybe had been on there once or twice, but I was like, all right, yeah, I'll take it. So I had the sports talk show, which was called Official Word Sports. That's why we brought that name over here, right? And so that was during the Bills' Super Bowl run. At that time, it was Super Bowl. I've changed the name because it's now Exhibition, right? So when we went down, it was down in Atlanta, okay? Elle is still at Clemson. I think that was your last year at Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And we had a bunch of people that were going down. And I was going down to cover. We were going to do the show from Radio Row and, have a good time down there. So as we get down there, me and Elle, we ripping up Atlanta, right? Having a good time, parties, all the whole night, right? There's stories that I'll tell you guys offline about when we went to Champions, right? That was crazy. When we walked in, right? When we walked into the hotel, there's a story behind that with Marcus Allen, right? But we walked in and everybody's running around for autographs. Can I get your autograph? We're signing autographs like you wouldn't believe, right? So now if those autograph seekers that have my autograph or Elle's autograph, yeah, we didn't play in the league. You may have thought we played in the league, but we didn't play in the league, right? So we're signing autographs. I laughed, right, because I just thought it was funny. Like, you don't know who I am, and I'm signing. There's another gentleman on here who took it serious. It was just signing, right? Just signing away, right? Walking through the crowd, just signing. You had fathers with their kids over their shoulders.
No.
Like, I'm getting this autograph from, I don't know who he is, but he looks to be famous, right? Let me get that autograph. So we go through, and now I'm telling the full story. So now we go to Champions, but the line for Champions is wrapped all the way down and all the way down, right? It just like probably about 100 people in line. And so we walked to the back of the line. Well, we had to get our story straight, right? You remember those two women, they were like, who are you guys? Who do you play for? And like, Lamar's like, I go to Clemson. I said, I got a radio show in Buffalo. There was nothing hype about that, right? So then we said, well, we got to have a cover story. So the cover story was for you, Stevie D, right? Didn't know you at the time, but that on the practice squad, this is when they first had the practice squad, on the practice squad for the Jets and on the practice squad for the Browns. Now, I was the Browns. He was the Jets, right?
Go Lamar.
So we go to the back of the line like you'd think that we would, right? But all these people saw us signing these autographs. Right? It really saw him signing these autographs. So they're patting you on the back. Hey, how are you? You can go ahead of me. Hey, how are you? You can go ahead of me. Right? So we're all the way in the back, right? I kid you not. In like less than 2 minutes, we're standing in the front, right? But you can't get to the front because there were two guys at the front, plus they had a capacity to get into Champions. So as we're standing there waiting to get in there, these two guys behind us, well, actually, hold on. We were third from the back. And these two guys behind us, they said, hey, could you sign my football? It's a 3-panel football. Never forget this, right? On this 3-panel football, this guy worked hard. I'm going to tell you, my man put in some work. He had Y.A. Tittle. He had all of the legends on this football, right? Can you sign my football? I don't.
Lamar.
I went to both, but I don't know if I signed on that football. But I do know that Lamar signed that football.
I probably had the biggest signature right there.
He did, right? Through the Y of Y.A. Tittle comes the S of S.L. Turner. I was like, oh my goodness, what'd you just do to this football, right? Just destroyed the whole thing. My man worked hard, right? He worked hard. So anyways, now there's two guys behind us, right? So now we're second in line. And, we were talking to the bouncer, or the dorm guy. He's just like, yeah, I'll let you guys in. Shortly, you guys will go in. So these two guys behind us, they're like, hey, who do you guys play with, right? So I was like, yeah, I'm on the practice squad with the Browns. He's like, yeah, I'm on the practice squad with the Jets. Guy says, oh, no kidding. I was like, oh. The guy says, I write for the New Jersey such and such. I was like, oh, you're busted, right? But you know when you have favor on your side, right? Because 4 people end up walking out of champions just at that moment, right? So the conversation never went any further. So the guy at the door opens the rope, we go walking in. Now, people have no idea that he's still at Clemson. No idea I play in the radio, but they all think that we play in the league, right? L goes to the table with his boys. I think it was Chester, right? Chester McLaughlin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Howie Long. And then you had that one cat with the bald head that took a check for the tickets. I'll never forget that either. But they were all sitting at the table, holding 2 spots for me and L, right? And it was front and center, right? It was like the second table in. So you walk through and right smack dab, as soon as you walk in, you see that. Here we go. We sit at the table, right? Now everybody that walks in, they look over and they see us and they're like, ooh, there's Howie Long. There's so-and-so. They're the 2 guys that we know. It just kind of fit in. And that, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, we always do a PSA, right? Don't do drugs. But that was his drug, because ever since then, he has not missed a Super Bowl.
He's my hero.
L has been to every Super Bowl.
You are like my hero.
But
you didn't even
Hey,
realize
you know what?
the
Next show we're
stories
gonna have to
that Vince
lead
would
off.
tell me about you in the Super Bowl are legendary.
Next time
You're
we're
like
gonna
the
have to lead
Visa
off
commercial.
with me and Vince at Hooters.
oh,
Uh,
I mean, we're going over.
Yeah,
There's so many stories. Sean, we'll tell you this one offline. Hilarious as well. A classic. But I do want to end on one. This was Giants-Ravens Super Bowl in Tampa.
2000.
Yes. L comes down. We're like, yeah, we're going to do it big. We're going to go to the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. Right? We're at, what is it, NFL Shop or the activities type event.
Oh, yeah.
We're at NFL Experience. At the NFL Experience, Tampa puts these white tables, the Bills Mafia tables that we they put these Bills Mafia tables to try to control the crowd, right? So we're in there, and it's starting to get late, right? So there's not as many people in there. And we're like, all right, we're about to leave. Now, again, people, he's just giving this treasure trove of jackets and shirts and footballs. They're like, here you go, right? They're just giving him all kinds of stuff. I'm like, where's my stuff, right? Well, over the years, we got a little bigger, a little thicker, a little wider. I don't look like I did back in 93 when we were in Atlanta. So, anyways, we're walking through, and as we're going through, we're about to hit the exit. This guy had to be a full football field, if not longer, yells out, hey! Right? We're like, who's he talking to? Right? Because you can hear everybody, when you hear something, everybody stops, right? And they're looking, hey! And like, what's he doing? Right? But it was just a regular guy. It wasn't a guy from the store. It wasn't a guy working anything. It was just a regular guy who I think was looking for an autograph. This guy starts in a dead sprint. Right? Starts picking up the speed. We're like, yo, I think he's coming this way. Right? So they have these tables that are used to kind of control the crowd, right? So we're going through the little maze of the tables. But the way the tables go, they go across, down, across, right? We're just about at the exit. And the guy realizes, I got to make a decision. I'm trying to get there, and I got to make this decision. Do I jump?
He's trying to get at us.
Yes, he is. Do I jump? And he decided to make that fateful attempt, thinking that he was Carl Lewis doing the long jump. And he goes to take off, right? And he goes to take off. That foot catches that first table. And we all know what happened after that. My man went Superman slide across the table. And he's just laying on the ground looking. We're looking back at him like, what were you doing? Right? Couldn't stop laughing on that one. Oh, man. Some good times. Oh,
SLT. Hey, were you in Clemson with B-Dog, with Dawkins?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's a good cat, man. I rap with him. So Brian Dawkins, I rap with him. He got the Brian Dawkins Impact Foundation.
Foundation, yep.
Yeah,
Sure,
so I get to rap with him once a month about that. I'll definitely tell him that we caught up, that I saw you, whatever. So if you got the moment, if you got a chance, I'll share my number with Vince, share it with you. We get y'all back connected and everything.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Doc came in the year after I did. Yep.
Okay.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
So he doing some things with the school system in I think South Carolina, Jacksonville.
Yep.
One other place. So if you are right there in Tampa, whatever.
No, I'm in North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina now. But we were talking.
Oh, you're in Carolina now.
I'm in Carolina, yeah, but I would always come down to visit Vince, who's in Tampa. Yeah. But do that.
Gotcha.
We'll connect for sure.
All right. Well, this is good. This is kind of new, Stevie D, to the podcast, right? Obviously, for the time that we've done the live stream, the video, it's always been just you and I. And Sean, you were the first. El, you're the second. So good to have you on. We're gonna have others on. This one was a little different, and there's more stories. Maybe we'll call it story time with Official Word Sports, because when I tell you there's some stories, I have to make sure that my mom does not have access to this podcast, because there's some stuff, boy. Let me tell you, that joker right there, woo! You want to talk about a road dog? That is your road dog right there. That's my boy. We've been tight since we was little. We still get at it. Good friend. But man, some stories. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And CVD, as you can see, he lives at Braylon over there.
Yeah, he's trying to sneak in the back.
Go ahead, Braylon. Try to get you some airtime. But as you can see, he lives at Foot Locker over there.
I cannot believe how many pair of sneakers. That is insane. Collection.
It's rough. I can turn around to my Jordan side. That's my orange boxes you see behind me. But it goes pretty. It keeps moving.
Yeah.
I got to go to North Carolina. I got to go shopping.
Right. That's what I'm thinking.
They just acquisitions.
So, but listen, to everybody, certainly I do appreciate you taking some time joining us here, allowing me to vent. There's so much more I could say. Maybe I'll do a subset just to really let that vent out. CVD, you thought that I was venting earlier. Oh no, there's so much more. And
I don't know if I was prepared for that rant today. You kind of caught me off guard. I know you're pretty good with it, but it went.
The 48 hours made sense, because I know I sure hit Vince up the next morning. No, that night I think I said something, and it's not like Vince not to respond. Nothing.
Yeah,
I have learned. 24 to 48 hours.
Hey Vince, what's up with this?
What's that?
It's the package that came in from New York. I got the package from New York.
Yeah, you got to show that. Yeah. Hold on, looks like you froze for a second. But there it is. You want to open it up?
But Sean, you got to tell the story.
Sean,
right?
Hey, take that down, Sean. Take that down. Because you got your address up there.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. You want to open that up and share, or
So the story behind that package. Yeah, I'm gonna show. The story behind that package is at the Chiefs-Bills game. There was two ladies from Buffalo to Kansas City, and they were in the pro shop doing some shopping. They asked me to sign some autographs. They heard from somebody that was a former player. I signed the autographs. They had some Buffalo stuff on and stuff. I was pointing them into the direction of where the real apparel was, but they were proud Buffalo fans there, and they had a great time in Kansas City trying them burnt ends and that barbecue in Kansas City. The lady said, "Man, young, it's such a blessing." She said, "I'm gonna send you something for Christmas." And so I took her number down and texted her. She texted me and said, "Hey, I'm gonna mail you something." So I'm gonna open it up to see what it is.
and that's what we do. Bills Mafia
She said
represent.
it's gonna be something nice for maybe my kids. So I'm opening it up first time, seeing what it is. Like, she went all out. Look, she done.
Well, she does it.
She got it wrapped and everything.
Oh my God! She wrapped the presents.
You getting photobombed by Braylon. I see Braylon.
I see it. Yeah, right. Maybe she sent him some Duffs or Rudy's.
Whoa. Whew.
On a card.
Oh, Merry Christmas. I'm opening it early.
That's what I'm talking about. That's Bills Mafia, 100%.
Merry Christmas. Open it early. See what this early Christmas on the OWSports. Early Christmas gift.
Can't see that one. Wait,
Yeah, you got to describe it for us.
Nice little angel. She person.
So it looks like a personalized angel.
Buffalo area to make some homemade socks.
We're losing you a little bit there, Sean. Sounds like you said some homemade socks. Stevie D.
Yep.
It's because you over an hour. That's why.
got to pay that bill.
Shutting you down.
We lost him. That was it. We lost him. Well, listen. Anyways, again, Bills Mafia representing. That's for sure. And we'll definitely get Sean back on. El, it was great having you on. Braylon, good to see you. Glad to have you on.
Say something, man.
Hi.
There we go. There we go.
That all you got, Braylon? Is that all you got? Hi.
The Saints.
Wait. There we go.
Yeah, he in real trouble. Oh man.
So, but like we say to everybody, we're glad that you joined us. We had a lot of people that were watching the podcast tonight, and we thank you. Right? We thank you. Maybe you were there to see me vent. Maybe you wanted to hear why I posted, about Sean McDermott.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
That's pretty cool.
Did it say "Go Bills" on the bottom of that?
No, man's barber. Galatians 5:22 talks about the fruit of the spirits. She asked me, when I told her have a blessed day, she asked me what my favorite Bible verse was. I told her it was Galatians 5:22.
Oh, okay. I thought it said "Go Bills."
That's going up in the
Those are
barber.
socks, right?
As a stocking. Nice.
Oh, it's a stocking.
On the stockings, hanged up on the fireplace with care.
Wow, that is pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Nice, right there.
That is.
Well done, Buffalo. Well done.
That's how we roll. That is.
Well done, Buffalo.
Thank you.
Now text
Thank
her
you,
back
Bills
and ask
Mafia.
now text her back and ask her to send you some wings.
Right? Whew. Whew. So, but yeah, we're very thankful for everybody who tuned in, and again, give us a like, give us a subscribe. We appreciate it. We've as we say, and we promise that we will. If you mention a topic, we will talk about the topic, and that's why we kind of had El on. Certainly glad to have you on, El, and of course the glue for OWS, Sean Barber, part of the barber shop. Sean, anything else?
Here. Thank you, Bills Mafia. Early Christmas. Thank you, Bills Mafia.
and we're going to get you back on again for sure.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk too much about the Chiefs today.
Right? And we're going long here, Stevie D.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have one more show before the holidays. We're going to try to figure out what we're going to do. We'll sneak in maybe just to talk about the state of the Bills, the state of the Jets, over the holidays. But of course, you can always check us out. If you're going to listen to us, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. We're out there all over the place. And then, of course, you can check us out on YouTube, and we're glad to have you. So for Mr. Sean Barber, Barbershop 59, for my man SLT, my road dog right there, for my co-host Stevie D, I'm Vince. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.